You know, Alabama's willing to recruit all over in order to sign the best players in the country, but sometimes Nick Saban doesn't even have to leave Tuscaloosa to do that. The Crimson Tide has received verbal commitment from class of 2017 running back Brian Robinson of Hillcrest High School. In picking the Tide, the junior is turning down offers from Auburn, Georgia, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, among other SEC schools. He's closing in on 1,500 yards this season. His top performance was an eye-catching 447-yard, 5-touchdown effort against the state's #1 Class 6A team, Clay Chalkville. This past Friday night, Robinson led Hillcrest to a playoff win over Northview out of Dothan with 170 yards and a touchdown. He's one of the best for 2017, and he's homegrown. And good evening, everyone. Brian Robinson's future teammates now control their own destiny in the SEC West following their dominant 30-16 victory over LSU. But there are no guarantees in the SEC West. And this Saturday, the Tide will face another stiff challenge in Starkville against number 20 Mississippi State. Today, Alabama players said they have already turned the page from LSU to MSU. Here's WVUA23 Sports' Jenn Chapman.
Since the 2008 season, Alabama has played in only 3 regular season games without national championship implications. Beating LSU on Saturday wasn't just a rivalry grudge. Alabama kept their playoff hopes alive, and the team knows this is no time for a letdown. 20th ranked Mississippi State is next.
Statistically, people after a big win, they don't play as well the next week because they're still focused on, or they're thinking about what happened last week. But enough guys have been here where we know what has to happen this week, starting today. And Mississippi State has a good team, so we got to get ready.
Last season, Mississippi State was the #1 team in the land for the first time in their program history. But MSU came to Bryant-Denny Stadium, and the Tide knocked off the undefeated Bulldogs 25-20. Mississippi State coach Dan Mullen said his team learned a great lesson from a game of that magnitude.
I think our guys were a little bit too worried about doing everything perfectly instead of just going and playing the game. And when you're in a big game like that, in big game situations, the last thing you ever want to do is be uptight and play uptight.
The Tide well aware that the Bulldogs have not forgotten that loss, and also familiar with State's offensive threat. Quarterback Dak Prescott, who has shattered 36 school records, including 100 career touchdowns.
You know, I think his passing efficiency, looking off people, doing the little things in the passing game that really make a difference. He's got really good skill guys outside that have made a lot of big plays. And, you know, he can hurt you running the ball.
He can run, he can throw, he can do everything on the field, so you got to contain him. You do a good job containing him, you got a good shot at beating their team.
Another factor, cowbells. And the Tide players unsure if that will be an added addition to the crowd noise at practice on Thursday. But they know without a doubt the cowbells will be in full effect on game day. Jenn Chapman for WVUA23 Sports.
And Bama practicing today in shorts, getting ready for the Bulldogs on Saturday, getting their legs back under them. Nick Saban likes those light Monday practices, that tenacious defensive line going through drill work. Jake Coker, he did not have a single turnover against LSU. Nick Saban is always working with that secondary. He and Mel Tecker doing a great job this year. They're much improved back there. Of course, the offensive line will need to continue to pave the way for King Henry. Big Derek had 210 against LSU. In other college football news, members of the Missouri football team announced over the weekend that they would not participate in football and related activities until University President Tim Wolf stepped down as a result of racial tensions on the campus. The protest gained support from most of the team and student body, as well as head coach Gary Pinkel. Today, those protesters got their wish as Wolf announced his resignation. He did offer words of encouragement to the university that it's now time for healing and love and not hatred. Alabama women's basketball hosting its one exhibition game of the preseason tonight at Foster against Faulkner out of Montgomery. This one was Alabama already up 19-12. Nikki Heckstetter gets it in low and puts it in for 2. She had 13. Alabama had 4 players in double figures. All 11 players that played scored. Mio Knight slashes in for the deuce. She had 17 to tie for game-high honors, 31-14. Less than 3 to play in the first quarter. Bama's Hannah Cook passes it to Brianna Hayden, who gets it to Didi Martinez under the basket. Bama rolling, actually in the second quarter, now 41-14. And right before the half, not letting up. Hannah Cook, see the 3, be the 3. The Tide cruises 93-34. They'll host Alabama A&M on Thursday afternoon at Coleman Coliseum in the season opener as part of a men's and women's doubleheader. So we got football and we got hoops And we got Monday Night Football. The Bears have just scored a touchdown, 2-point conversion to lead the Chargers 22-19 late in the fourth, and that is a busy night of sports.
Very busy night in sports. Yeah. We'll take it. All right, Gary, stay with us. We'll be right back.